Most men cross the halfway point of their lives without ever realizing that the game has completely changed. You spend the first 20 years trying to figure out who you are, and the next 20 years building a career, paying a mortgage, and trying to keep your family safe. But then one day you wake up, you look in the bathroom mirror, and you notice the lines around your eyes and the gray in your hair. You realize with a sudden, heavy jolt that you have more years behind you than you do ahead of you. And right then, a quiet panic sets in. You start asking yourself if any of it actually mattered. You begin to wonder what you are running toward, or if you are just running out the clock. Most men handle this realization by buying something expensive, changing jobs, or pretending that time isn't moving at all. They keep running on a treadmill of daily stress, responsibilities, and trivial worries, completely blind to the fact that they are wasting the most precious asset they have left. Carl Jung once wrote that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Right now, if you're over 40, you are sleepwalking toward a finish line, letting old habits and unconscious fears dictate how your story ends. If you want to reach your final days with a deep sense of peace, rather than a suffocating wave of regret, you have to stop living on autopilot right now. You need to look at the remainder of your life with ruthless honesty, cut away the dead weight of what no longer serves you, and start doing the things that actually build a lasting legacy for your children and a quiet conscience for your own soul. The first major shift you have to make if you want to find peace before you die is to completely stop caring about what other people think of you. Think about how much energy you waste every single day managing the opinions of neighbors, coworkers, acquaintances, and even extended family members. You bite your tongue to keep the social peace. You buy things you do not need to impress people you do not even like. You wear a mask of constant competence because you are terrified that someone might see your flaws, your doubts, or your failures. This is a sickness of the modern mind, and it keeps you trapped in a cage of your own making. When you are 20, you care about everyone's opinion because you are searching for your identity. When you are 40 and beyond, caring about what people think is an active betrayal of your true self. Carl Jung noted that privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. You cannot become yourself if you are too busy trying to fit into a mold designed by people who care nothing about your happiness. The harsh truth is that most people are far too wrapped up in their own insecurities to spend more than 5 seconds thinking about you. When you are lying on your deathbed, the critical remarks of a coworker or the gossip of a neighbor will mean less than absolute zero. They will not pay your emotional debts. They will not hold your hand, and they will not give you peace. The moment you drop the heavy burden of trying to please everyone, a strange thing happens. Your shoulders drop, your mind clears, and you finally find the internal space to focus on what matters. You stop being an actor performing a script written by society, and you start being a real man making deliberate choices. This liberation gives you the courage to look at your daily life and eliminate the petty arguments, the forced social obligations, and the pointless drama that drain your life force. You realize that your time is finite, and every minute spent worrying about someone else's judgment is a minute stolen from your own peace and from the people who genuinely love you. To secure a good future for your children and leave a mark that outlives your physical body, you must stop treating your emotional world as a secondary priority. For decades, men have been conditioned to believe that being a good provider means paying the bills, fixing the car, and keeping a roof over everyone's head while completely starving the household of emotional truth. You think that by hiding your struggles, your grief, and your exhaustion, you are being strong. But your children are not fooled by a stoic facade. They absorb your tension, your unspoken frustrations, and your silent bitterness like sponges. When a father refuses to process his own inner demons, he passes those unhealed wounds directly down to the next generation, like a family inheritance no one asked for. You might leave your kids a nice bank account or a paid-off house, but if you leave them with a model of a man who was emotionally dead inside, repressed and disconnected from his own soul, you have failed in the most crucial duty of fatherhood. Leaving a good mark on the world does not mean having your name on a plaque or building a corporate empire. It means raising sons who know how to stand up with integrity and daughters who know what real, authentic strength looks like. And you cannot teach what you do not live. You have to be willing to sit down, face your own anger, Unpack your disappointments and heal your own psychological fractures. When your children see a man who owns his mistakes, who communicates with brutal honesty, and who refuses to hide behind petty pride, you give them a priceless blueprint for survival. If this video brings value to your life, hit the subscribe button and join the journey. I appreciate your support. You show them that life is not about avoiding pain or keeping a fake, fragile peace, but about confronting reality head-on with courage and dignity. This brings you to another critical habit you must kill immediately: the habit of holding on to grudges and nursing old resentments. If you are over 40, you likely carry a collection of past hurts like heavy stones in a backpack. You remember the business partner who cheated you 20 years ago, the family member who disrespected you at a holiday dinner, or the friend who disappeared when things got hard. You replay these old conflicts in your head while you are driving to work or lying awake in the dark at 3 a.m., adding fresh fuel to a fire that burned out a long time ago. You tell yourself that remembering these wrongs keeps you safe, that it ensures you will never be fooled again. But holding on to a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It ties your present life to a past that you cannot change, locking your mind in a prison cell while the key sits right outside the door. Carl Jung understood that what you resist persists and what you suppress controls you. By refusing to let go of old betrayals, you give the people who hurt you permanent, rent-free space in your mind. You let yesterday dictate your today and sabotage your tomorrow. When your final days arrive, the last thing you want is your mind cluttered with bitterness and petty scores that you never managed to settle. Settling them does not mean calling up your enemies or seeking some cinematic revenge. It means forgiving the past not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. It means looking at the scar, acknowledging the lesson it taught you, and closing the book for good. When you empty your mind of old hatreds, you suddenly find that you have abundant mental energy to invest in the people who are actually standing right beside you right now. That redirected energy must flow directly into building deep, meaningful connections with your spouse and your children. Because true wealth at the end of life is measured in the depth of your bonds, not the size of your portfolio. Many men fall into the trap of emotional laziness within their marriages as the decades roll by. You slip into a routine of comfortable roommates rather than passionate partners. You stop truly listening. You stop noticing the small things. You assume that because you pay the bills and stay faithful, the relationship is running fine on autopilot. But a marriage cannot survive on logistics and shared utility bills alone. It requires active attention, emotional presence, and the courage to be vulnerable. When you ignore your partner's emotional needs or brush off deep conversations with a grunt because you are tired from work, you are slowly starving the relationship of oxygen. If you want to reach your deathbed and feel a deep sense of warmth rather than cold isolation, you have to tear down the walls you have built around your heart. You have to learn how to talk to your wife not as an opponent or a chore, but as the closest ally you have in this world. You have to ask her how she is feeling and actually wait for the answer without trying to instantly fix everything or get defensive. The same goes for your children as they grow older. They do not need a perfect father who never makes mistakes. They need a real man who is present, who listens without judgment, and who is genuinely interested in who they are becoming as individuals. When you look back from your deathbed, you will not care about the extra hours you stayed at the office to impress a boss who would replace you within a week. You will care about the quiet conversations, the shared laughs, the family trips, and the moments when you made your children feel safe, seen, and unconditionally loved. To make those moments happen, you have to radically change how you spend your time, which means you must ruthlessly cut out the shallow distractions that consume modern life. Look at how many hours vanish into the glowing screen of your phone, scrolling through endless feeds of meaningless news, angry comment sections, and trivial entertainment. You use these distractions as a numbing agent to escape the quiet discomfort of your own thoughts. You are afraid of silence because silence forces you to confront the reality of your life, your choices, and your unfulfilled potential. But every hour you spend glued to a screen is an hour stolen from your legacy. When your time on this earth is running out, you will never wish you had spent more time scrolling on social media or watching another meaningless video. You will wish you had read more books, learned a new skill, planted a garden, built something with your hands, or walked in nature with your family. You have to reclaim your attention span like your life depends on it, because it does. When you control your attention, you control your destiny. Take an honest inventory of your daily habits and ask yourself what is adding real value to your soul and what is just keeping you numb and comfortable. Swap the endless scrolling for deep, focused creation. Dedicate your evenings to pursuits that enrich your mind and leave a tangible footprint. Whether it is mentoring someone younger, writing down your life stories and lessons for your children to read when you are gone, or mastering a craft you always pushed aside, you must become a producer of your life rather than a passive consumer of everyone else's opinions and spectacles. As you step into this intentional way of living, you will inevitably face the hardest truth of growing older: your own physical and mental mortality. Most men spend the first half of life acting as if they are invincible, abusing their bodies with terrible diets, lack of sleep, chronic stress, and zero physical maintenance, assuming their youth will protect them forever. Then the 40-year mark hits, and the body starts sending warning shots: stiff joints, lower energy, creeping weight, and sluggish recovery. Ignoring these signals is a fast track to a miserable, dependent old age where you cannot enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you want to leave a good future for your children, the best thing you can do for them is to take absolute charge of your physical health. Your kids do not want to watch you slowly decay into a bitter, broken old man who is a burden on the household. They want to see a father who remains robust, sharp, and capable well into his later years. This requires brutal discipline. It means cutting out the junk food, hitting the gym for heavy lifting and conditioning, getting proper sleep, and managing your stress before it manages you. Physical strength in your later years is not about vanity. It is about independence and self-respect. When you keep your body strong, your mind stays sharper, your mood stabilizes, and you project an aura of calm stability that anchors everyone around you. This physical discipline must be matched by an equal commitment to mental growth and curiosity. One of the greatest tragedies of aging is that many men completely stop learning around age 35. They lock themselves in a rigid worldview, reject any new ideas, and spend the next 40 years repeating the same opinions, prejudices, and complaints. They become mentally stagnant, bitter about how the world is changing, and entirely disconnected from reality. Carl Jung pointed out that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate. And part of that unconscious trap is intellectual laziness. To keep your mind vibrant and leave a rich intellectual legacy for your children, you must remain a lifelong student. Read challenging books that stretch your perspective. Study philosophy, history, psychology, and human nature. Travel to new places, experience different cultures, and talk to people who disagree with you without getting angry. When you cultivate a curious mind, you realize that the world is vast and endlessly fascinating, which leaves zero room for small-minded bitterness. Your children will notice this intellectual vitality. They will see that their father is not a rigid tyrant stuck in the past, but a wise, adaptable man who continues to grow, learn, and evolve right up until his final days. That kind of mental resilience is a generational gift that shapes how your descendants handle adversity long after you are gone. Ultimately, leaving a good mark on the world and finding profound happiness on your deathbed comes down to one fundamental principle: taking absolute, uncompromised responsibility for your own life. Most people go through life playing the victim of circumstance. They blame their economy, their boss, their spouse, their parents, or their bad luck for where they ended up. They wait for someone to come along and save them, give them a break, or validate their worth. But as you cross into the second half of your life, you must realize with absolute clarity that no one is coming to save you. Your life is entirely your own creation, born from the sum of the choices you made yesterday and the choices you are making right this second. If you are unhappy with your marriage, your health, your career, or your inner peace, pointing fingers at external forces changes nothing. You have to look in the mirror, accept the harsh truth of your situation, and take full ownership of the steering wheel. When you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility, your entire universe shifts. You stop feeling like a helpless leaf blown around by the wind and start acting like the master of your own ship. This radical accountability gives you the power to walk away from toxic environments, drop toxic friendships, and face difficult conversations that you have been dodging for years. It gives you the backbone to stand firm when life tries to break you down. Imagine standing at the very end of your journey, looking back across the decades. Picture the room growing quiet, the lights dimming, and the final chapter coming to a close. When you take that last breath, what will echo in the memories of the people you leave behind? Will they remember a man who was constantly stressed, angry, emotionally absent, and trapped by the opinions of others? Or will they remember a man of unshakable integrity, a father who was deeply present and emotionally strong, a husband who cherished his partner with respect and truth, and a human being who faced his own mortality with courage and peace? The choice is entirely yours, and the clock is ticking faster than you think. You do not have time to waste another year on petty drama, social anxiety, half-hearted efforts, and mindless distractions. You need to wake up, look at the reality of your life, and start doing what actually matters. Drop the dead weight of your past regrets, cut out the superficial noise, invest your soul into the people you love, and build a legacy of quiet strength and profound wisdom.